yoga and meditation. There it is. Grab a mat, grab a water bottle, grab a cup of coffee, whatever is right and good for you. Great thing about practicing at home is this is probably less preparation in terms of getting ready. Most of the stuff you need to be comfortable is already right there. I'll suggest maybe grabbing a cushion from your pillow or a towel, something to sit up on. If your hips are super loose, you might not need it. But again, just you do you, and we'll have some fun yoga this morning. And I believe we'll be joined by my wife Kathy if she gets out of bed. Uh, Even if she doesn't, we'll still have a good practice. And we'll see you in 3 or 4 minutes. All right. Welcome to Yoga and Meditation. My name is Mark. I teach with the Bay Club. I also have this personal feed just because I enjoy teaching. And if you enjoy taking yoga, feel free to check out my Facebook page just to see when I'll be teaching. Right now, we've got one more class this week. Besides this class, 7 to 8. Yoga and meditation. We have happy hour yoga tomorrow afternoon at 5:30 to 6:30 Pacific time. Uh, anyway, well, let's get going. I'll invite you to find your feet from your feet finding your legs. From your legs finding your spine, relaxing your shoulders, long through all sides of the neck as the crown of your head reaches for the sky. Without straining the neck, I'll invite you to tuck the chin ever so slightly as we start to bring our attention inward. I'll invite you to bring your hands to your heart, a light press of the palms as your weight collects in your feet. I'll invite you to line up each finger as your thumbs lightly brush your chest. We can start our practice this morning just by watching our breath as it flows in and out. Soft eyes, or even closing the eyes if you're comfortable with closed eyes. Arriving here on our yoga mats, ready for a morning yoga practice. My favorite time of day to practice yoga. Gets the blood moving, gets our mind. Mind's generally still, but makes it maybe even a little bit stiller. From this place of just watching your breath, we'll invite you to shape your breath as we find a long, slow inhalation, matched by a long, slow exhalation. As you breathe in, I'll invite you to find a full body breath, bringing the air to the top of the chest, the base of the belly, filling up each side waist, filling up both front and back planes of your body. And as you breathe out, either keeping the belly soft and letting the air whoosh out, or adding a constriction of the low belly in and up towards the heart to squeeze a little more air out. Working with this full body breath, let's play with some pranayama. This means breath work. First time I heard it, I was like, well, the breath is just the breath. There's lots of different breaths we can use. In yoga, we explore those various breaths. So let's play with the Sitali breath. It's a cooling breath. It may be warm where you are. It's a little warm today here in San Francisco. Not particularly right now, but later on, I think definitely feel it's going to heat up. So the Sitali breath is a cooling breath. And we make a little O with the lips. If you're one of the people in this world that can curl their tongue, you'll also curl your tongue. If you're not, don't worry about it. One of the few breaths in yoga where we breathe in through the mouth and we'll breathe out through the nose, like we always do in yoga. So, not always, but at least in the Sitali breath we do. So anyway, we're going to breathe in through our mouth with that little O at the lips, that little curl of the tongue, almost like you're sipping through a straw. That's the cooling part of the breath. And then closing the mouth, breathing out through the nose. Sitali breath in through the mouth. Closing the mouth out through the nose. Sitali breath in, let's do 6. Number 4. Two more to go. The last one. And a full body breath, breathing in through the nose. Full body breath, breathing out through the nose. Now that we found that place of coolness, let's play with the heating breath, the go-to breath in many flow practices, the Ujjayi or ocean breath. A slight constriction of the base of the throat, adding a slight sound and feel to your breath. And as we flow through our practice this morning, letting the sound and feel of the Ujjayi breath, the ocean breath, be a focus for your practice, often compared to the sounds of the ocean as the waves wash in and as the waves wash out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Listening and feeling to your breath. Now, a useful technique to keep the jaw relaxed is finding Jiva Bandha, the tongue loop. Tip of the tongue finds the hard palate just behind the teeth. Hard to see, hard to demonstrate, but trying to keep that tip to hard palate connection throughout the practice. Not only relaxing our jaws, but connecting front and back planes of our bodies. And then finally, I'll invite you to add a slight smile to your face with your lips closed, opening up the front of your throat so your breath has lots of room to circulate, refresh, and revitalize. Almost a Mona Lisa smile here. From here, let's bring our hands by our sides. Let's go a little wider with the feet if they're not already hip width apart or outer hip width apart, making sure you have a nice stable foundation. As our hands find the back of our hips, the fingers face down, and we're just going to circle our hips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Let's take our hip circles the other way for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now back to center, let's pretend we have an extra set of hands, or extra set, keep the hips relatively stable. Our real hands are going to find our shoulders, and an interesting way to focus the energy of the hands is to make little bird beaks with the fingers. Can you see it? We can bring those little bird beaks to the top of our shoulders, and we'll just circle our shoulder girdle for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now we're going to take it the other way for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then back to center. Hands by our side. So let's put the two moves together, that shoulder rotation, that hip rotation. We'll take them in opposite directions. I call this Burning Man Asana. I know it's been canceled this year, but I'm sure there'll be something online to get our Burning Man on. So hands in the air like you either do or don't care. We can take the hips one way, shoulders go the other for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now we'll take those rotations the other way for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And back to center. Let's work some breath exercises here. So I'll invite you to make 2 fists with the hands, bringing the fists just below the navel, say 3 inches below. That's your center of balance. In Chinese movement art, it's called the Dantian. So finding your fists at the Dantian, 3 inches below the navel. On the inhale, we'll trace a line from the Dantian up through the heart. Then opening up 4th and 5th chakra, heart and throat, as we spin palms up to the sky, exhaling through the mouth. Fists to the Dantian, we breathe in and breathe out. Breathing in and breathing out. And halfway down, let's do 3 more. Two more to go. The last one. And then hands by our side. On this one, on the inhale, we'll turn to one side as we push one hand up, the other hand down. Inhale to prepare. Exhale. On the inhale, exhaling through center. Inhale, other way. Couple more each way. One more each side. And then back to center. Let's come back to those bird beak fingers. Let's bring those bird beaks onto our shoulders. We'll lean a little bit forward here. We'll just roll our shoulders one front and then the other for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now we'll take it the other way for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And back to center. Hands by our side. A couple more breath exercises. Let's do stationary shooting the hawk to both sides. Hands find the heart. Welcome, Kathy. This is my wife, Kathy. So why don't you station yourself there or there, and I'll go a little bit more to the side. So we're going to turn to one side. On the inhale, almost like firing a bow and arrow, we pull back and we push out, exhaling through center, and then finding your second side. And let's do 6 of these. Here it comes 2. 2.5. One more each way. And then back to center. One more breath exercise before we start some more traditional yoga standing poses. Let's go even lighter with our feet. Let's do a roll down. So we start by dipping the chin, we relax the shoulders, we let the arms hang loose. Soft, soft knees as we roll ourselves down. I'll go sideways here. You can stay just as you are, Kathy. We're going to make 2 fists with our hands. As we breathe in, we're going to puff up the back of the heart. On the exhale, opening the hands and letting the back of the heart soften. And let's do 6 of these. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. A couple more to go. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. And now we'll do a roll up. Let's do it the safe way though. So let's bring hands onto our thighs. Chin is tucked. We push into the thighs as we roll ourselves on up, ensuring that our low back doesn't do all the work. Lifting the chin tall through the crown. I want you to bring 2 hands high in the air as if you're holding a big ball. And let's take 3 big full body breaths. Our hands and fingers can mimic our ribs. Breathing in. And breathing out. Breathing in. And breathing out. One more to go here. Breathing in. Breathing out. And then spinning the palms out. Hands by our side. With this wide stance to the feet, let's do one just for fun before we work through a standing sequence. I'll allow you to bring 2 fists by your side. Turning at the waist, we're going to punch out, exhaling. Inhaling and then exhaling the other way. And let's do 6 of these. This is called punching with angry eyes. So if you want to give that fist a little stern glare, go for it. And let's do one more each way. Let's hold. Inhale and hold. Exhale, squeeze tighter. Inhale and hold. Exhale, squeeze tighter. Inhale through center. Exhale, second side. Inhale and hold. Exhale, squeeze tighter. Inhale and hold. Exhale, squeeze tighter. Inhale. Fists by our side. Opening up the palms. And we're having so much fun with these Qigong exercises. Let's do one more. As we play the piano, just loosening up our fingers. Play whatever tune you'd like to play. And then one more hand exercise here. As we bring our hands by our sides, the palms face out. We're going to bring the thumb inside the palm. And then we'll bring the thumb outside the palm. Might add a little wrist rotation there. We can work it with the breath. We can exhale in Inhale out. And a couple more each way. And this hand work is making my hands feel so good. One more exercise I love. So we find a clasp with the fingers in front, heels of the hands connect, and we're just going to rotate our wrists. Keeping your breath free and easy. And then taking those wrist rotations the other way. And then another version of this that I learned in a shadow yoga workshop. Excellent practice. Combination of some of the Eastern from India and Eastern from China and other parts of the Southeast in terms of the practice. Switching the cross of the fingers. So working in one over. This time we're going to connect the forearms and rotate those wrists. And take it the other way. And then back to center, releasing the clasp of the fingers, hands by our side. Let's bring hands on our hips. Let's keep the right foot front. We'll step our left foot back as we find Warrior One prep. We can line up the heels. It's a bent front knee. Safest way to work the knee is over the heel and in line with the toes. And usually in the morning, the body's a little stiff, the mind's a little stiller. So if your body feels a little stiff and you want to stay right where you are, totally great place to work. If you want to maybe start to melt away some of that stiffness, and that can either be through staying right where you are or taking it a little bit bigger. So just working it out as we step the back foot back just a little bit to get some sensation in that back leg. In Warrior One, the hips are squaring front, but most of our hips don't square perfectly front, but you want to feel that front hip moving back hip moving front. From here, we can certainly square our shoulders as we twist the torso, facing the heart to the front of the room. As we hold our hands on our shoulders, relaxing those shoulders, just letting gravity settle them onto the back. Keeping that, I'll invite you to find a clasp of the fingers and bring the fingers behind the head. As we press the head into the hands, open heart, open throat, so fourth and fifth chakra. From here, we can stretch our hands high. Fave exercise here. We're going to straighten that front leg without locking the knee. The palms are going to face back as we gather up the energy, inhaling. On the exhale, we're going to offer it out. And let's do this 6 times. Breathing in. And breathing out. Breathing in. And breathing out. Halfway done. Breathing in. Breathing out. 2 more to go. Breathing in. Breathing out. Last one. Breathing in. Breathing out in, holding for a big breath into your heart. The elbows will move back, the hands come with. I'll invite you to give those fingers a wiggle. Again, just keeping our hands nice and supple. From here, let's turn Warrior One into Warrior Two. I'll go sideways here. Kathy, you stay just as you are. As we bring hands to heart, we're going to open up the hips to face side wall. And then we're going to find one long arm. And you might kick that back foot in just a little bit for heel to arch alignment. As we hold our Warrior Two, looking past those top fingers with a steady yet relaxed gaze. That's your drishti, your eye focus. From here, let's paint rainbows. We'll do 6 of these. So we're going to straighten the front leg without locking the knee. Palm faces back, inhaling. On the exhaling, Warrior Two. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Halfway done. Breathing in. Breathing out. Last 2. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. And breathing out. From here, let's find a rainbow warrior. A clasp with the fingers behind the back. Let's stretch the hands away from the back. A little bit of space between the small of the back and the hands. Shoulder blades back and down. Open heart, open throat. Feeling free to hang here as long as you like. You might give it a little wiggle, a little swing, a little sway. If you're feeling balance and you want to or if you want to challenge that balance, we can take a forward fold inside the front leg. Different ways to work this. We can park the torso on top of the thigh, or letting the torso hang free. Relax neck, heavy head. If the pose feels wobbly, I'll invite you to squeeze the feet together to stabilize the shape. How's that knee feel, Kathy?
I don't want to go too far.
Okay. So thank you for going in.
It's the one I landed on.
I'm going to suggest that maybe you don't do the forward fold and just hold it up here and just get into those shoulders. Free. Yeah, there you go. Maybe loosen up that neck a little bit. Nice.
I slid through it too.
Oh. Uh-oh.
Too much. It's just too much fun last time.
Okay. So let's release that clasp of the fingers. Let's come back to our warrior two shape. And let's move towards our triangle. Thumb and forefinger find crease of hip and base of rib. We're going to deepen that crease as we lengthen those ribs. Keeping a little spring in the knee, we're going to ground bottom hand down. If you can make the shin, awesome. You might work thigh. If you do choose to work the knee, almost palm of the hand kind of fits there really nicely. You don't want to push the knee back. You want to push the knee into the hand as much as the hand pushes into the knee. I'm going to go a little bit below the knee here. Top hand opens up that top shoulder. We stretch that hand high to the sky. Your drishti or eye focus either being down to the ground, off to the side, or up past those top fingers with that steady yet relaxed gaze. As we hold the shape, with every breath in, gathering energy in the dantian, 3 fingers below the navel. With every breath out, sending that energy out through 2 arms, 2 legs, both ends of the spine. As you make yourselves bigger in space from the inside out. Welcome, Valerie. Now let's work the lateral top line. Similar exercise to what we've done already. As we exhale this top hand front, turning our heart to the floor. On the inhale, lifting hand high as we spin heart to sky. Now let's do 6 of these. Exhaling. And inhaling. Exhaling. And inhaling. Halfway done. Exhaling. Inhaling. Last 2. Exhaling. Inhaling. Last one. Exhaling. Inhaling. And then let's come back up to our warrior 2 as we bend that front knee. From here, let's bring hands to hips as we spin the back heel up. And let's step that back foot front as we come back to our Tadasana, or stand, mountain pose. In your mountain pose, feeling free to work your feet wherever they need to be. If you did want to challenge your balance, we could bring the feet a little bit closer. With the feet a little bit closer, if you've chosen that option, just notice how your body swings and sways. And if you ever look, interesting point here. So Tadasana, we translate it as mountain pose. It actually means palm tree. And if you ever watch a palm trees are very different from mountains in terms of how they hold their stand. From here, let's bring hands by our side, and then let's go wider with our feet. And we'll do a little movement exercise here. On the inhale, we're going to bring the arms out to the side, inhaling. On the exhale, we're going to cross the hands in front as we bend the knees. Inhaling, arms out to the side, now switching to cross. Now let's do 6 of these. I believe this is halfway. Sometimes I lose count. And this is one of those ones I lose count in just because it feels so good. A couple more each way. 1 more each side. And then back up and down. Let's do a similar exercise. So we're going to bring, on the inhale, we're going to bring the arms up to one side. On the exhale, we're going to pass through center. On the next inhale, we find the other side. And let's do 6 of these. Halfway done. Couple more each way. Again, I tend to lose count. This feels so good. One more each side. And then back up. And hands by our side. So either toe heeling the feet in, or maybe you take a little jump with springy knees if you're working with a dinged knee. I'd suggest maybe not jumping. Went to the circus many years ago. There was a ringmaster. Arm gestures very similar to that. So we're going to cross one hand in front as we circle our hands up. And then we're going to switch that cross. We can inhale up and exhale. And a couple more like this. Inhale up. Exhale. And then let's take it the other way. Inhale up. Crossing one hand in front, one hand behind. Switching the cross. And one more with each cross. And then we'll spin the palms out and bring hands on our hips as we step our right foot back, finding our Warrior One prep, lining up the heels, maybe finding your place where your leg naturally goes and either staying right there, maybe sliding the back foot back just a little bit, feel a little more sensation in the back thigh. If that's too much sensation, just back off. Sometimes one side's a little different than the other. There's lots of ways to work our yoga. Primary purpose is to serve ourselves. So whatever feels good for your legs. How does that feel? Awesome. So again, we want to bring the back hip front, front hip back, front hip back, back hip front. We can square our shoulders. We can remind those shoulders to stay relaxed. We can find the other clasp, other fingers behind the head, pressing the head into the hands, open heart, open throat, fourth and fifth chakra, community and communication. And then we can stretch those hands high. Let me go sideways here just so you get a different perspective at home. From here, gathering up the energy, inhaling. On the exhale, offering it out. And we'll do 6. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last 2. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. Let's hold this shape here. As we bring the elbows back, the hands come with. I'll invite you to give those fingers a little wiggle. Why not? Keeping our hands supple. And then turning Warrior One into Warrior Two. As hands find the heart, we open up the hips. You might kick that back foot in just a tad for heel to arch alignment. And then finding that one long arm, looking out over those front fingers with that mixture of effort and ease. And that's another principle to the yoga practices. You want to work hard, not too hard. You want to rest, but you don't want to pass out. So a mixture of the various energies that we have in our bodies. In yoga, we call them the gunas. In our Warrior Two, let's paint 6 rainbows. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Halfway done. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Last one. Breathing in. Turn that palm back if you can. And out. There you go. And from here, let's move towards that rainbow warrior, clasping the fingers behind the back, shoulder blades backing down, and either adding a forward fold or not, really up to you. This particular version is really, really nice, just letting those shoulders be loose. You might give your head a little swing, a little sway. Maybe get a little hip action into it. Yeah. We're 80% water, so when we start to connect with our water element, we start to flow. And I teach different kinds of yoga. My favorite is the flow yoga just because I love how we move or the possibility of moving through space with grace. Those of you that chose the forward fold, the tuck of the chin as we bring it back up, and we'll come back to our warrior two shape. From here, moving towards Trikonasana, the triangle, thumb and forefinger find crease of hip and base of rib, deepening that crease as we lengthen those ribs. Keeping a little spring in the knee, bring bottom hand either on the thigh or shin. If you do choose the knee, make sure you're pushing that knee into the hand as hard as the hand pushes into the knee. We can use that top hand to set that top shoulder. We can stretch that hand high to the sky, either looking down to the ground, very grounding, off to the horizon, a little less grounding, maybe a little more liberated, or up to the sky, full liberation, but also could be full wobbliness. So if you choose that option, you can always back off and find a place that works for you. Grounding is an awesome place to be. Liberation is an awesome place to be. Again, just making a choice that works for you. Again, wherever you choose to work, with every in-breath, gathering energy in your center of balance, 3 fingers below the navel. Every time you breathe out, sending that energy out through 2 arms, 2 legs, both ends of the spine. Now adding breath and movement as we exhale that top hand front, turning heart to the floor. It's this one here, a little bit of a twist. Inhale it up. So exhale, so the hand really faces front if you can. Inhale it up. Now let's do 6. Exhale. And exhale. And exhale. And inhale. A couple more. Exhale. And inhale. Last one. Exhale. Inhale. And then hold. Yeah. And then let's bring hand to hip. Let's come back up. Let's bend that front knee as we find our warrior two. Let's bring hands back to the hips as we spin our back heel up. And then we'll shift weight onto the front foot as we step back foot front. I'll invite you to bring hands to heart. Either keeping a light press of the palms as your weight gathers in your feet, or adding an isometric engagement as we press those palms together. And then hands by our side. From here, let's bring hands on hips. Let's go a little wider with our feet. Soft, soft knees, arms hang by our side. And this is if you live here in San Francisco, probably other places, New York City, where you have a lot of Qigong practitioners. You'll see them in the parks. And this is a great, great exercise just to get the various energy flows going in our body. So soft knees, we're going to rotate one hand goes front, one hand goes back, inhaling and exhaling. Keeping it free and easy. Now I'm going to invite you to make very soft fists. I'm going to start to massage the various nadis, the meridians, the energy currents as we tap one fist on one side of the navel, other fist on its mirror image on the diagonal and back. And it's a soft, soft tap. We're starting to wake up digestion, elimination. Sun salutations are one way to do it. We're not really doing those this morning just because my practitioner here dinged her knee and dinged her elbow in a fall the other day. And we can still do our yoga and just modify the yoga again. The practice is for us. And that soft fist in front is going to tap just below the shoulder as we start to wake up our heart and lungs. Now that front fist is going to tap just on top of the shoulder as we start to wake up our nervous system. That spot where any Star Trekkies out there, Dr. Spock, we do the anesthesiizing grip. That's where the big, big nerves move from the brain down to the rest of the body. Now we're going to start to move that front fist back down just below the navel. And our front fist is going to start to tap either side of the navel again. So we step back into digestion and elimination, so important in the morning. It's actually important all day long. I find there's a particular focus in the morning. And then we're going to let those fists become not fists, and just back and forth. And then we'll start to slow it down, and then back to center. Let's continue with this theme of rotation. So let's bring arms out to the side. Let's spin the palms up. Knees are soft. On the exhale, we can rotate to the left. On the inhale, back through center. Take it to the right. Now, I invite you initially just to keep the hips relatively steady, just like we did before. We have those invisible hands. You don't have to be fanatic about it. But then starting to let the hips play a little bit. And just notice where you feel the stretch. In theory, with the hips stable and facing front, you'll feel the stretch more in the low back. As you start to let the hips play, the stretch moves up towards the mid and upper back. And let's do a couple more each way, keeping it loose. Try to get a little more liquid if you can, Kat. Just relax. Feel those energy currents. Let those fingers be super soft and supple. Yeah, let your hands get a little more. Like look at those fingers, just don't wake them up. There you go. Now let's do one more each way. And then back to center. Hands by our side. One more on our rotational theme before we work through another standing sequence. Let's bring two hands in front, the palms face in. We're going to spin the right palm up. We're going to soften the knees. You want to feel like you're pushing something as we pass through center, exhaling. Inhale through center, exhale. And this might be, you might conceive if you saw someone in the way of an oncoming car, you push that person out of the way. A little bit of acceleration through center. Yeah, a couple more each way. And then back to center. And hands by our side. From here, let's bring hands on hips. We'll step our left foot back as we come back to our Warrior One prep. Second time through, maybe you go a little bit bigger again. No worries if you're exactly where you were before. From here, squaring the hips, squaring the shoulders, opening up fourth and fifth chakra. From here, let's find a tray in front as if we're holding a tray. As we breathe in, we'll straighten the front leg when we go sideways here. Breathing in as we gather energy into our center of balance. On the exhale, we'll circle the hands around. And let's do 6 of these. Breathing in. And breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. 2 more to go here. Inhaling. Exhaling. Last one here. Inhaling. Exhaling. Again, let's hold this for a breath or two. The elbows come back, the hands come with. Let's wiggle those fingers, keeping our hands supple. From here, let's find Warrior Two again as we bring hands to heart. We open up the hips, we narrow the stance. One long arm. From here, let's work rotations in our Warrior Two as we twist towards center, and then we twist away from center. Inhaling and exhaling. And let's do a couple more each way. And then back to our Warrior Two. From here, let's move towards extended side angle. Backhand finds the hip. We ground forearm on top of our thigh. 4 steps on the, or 3 steps on the top arm. We're going to just let that top arm hang free, releasing tension in that shoulder, just letting it drain down through those fingers. From here, we're going to stretch the arm away for more space in our shoulders. Keeping that space in that top shoulder, we're going to swing the hand front, and we want to find as much space as we can. I'll come out of the shape between that back foot, long to that leg, long to the torso, long to the arms, even long to those fingers. And we can look down, very grounding, off to the side, or if you're feeling your balance, maybe pretend that like that top hand is a hand mirror. You know, look up and see your reflection in that mirror. Maybe give that reflection a little smile. Feeling free to stay right here, or let's work rotation as we circle that hand back, tracing with our eyes. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Let's do 3 more this way. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last one this direction. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, and let's take it the other way. Exhaling. And exhaling. And inhaling. Exhaling. And inhaling. I think we're halfway done here. We got 2 more to go. Inhaling into extension. Last one, exhaling into flexion. And inhaling. And then let's hold our extended side angle pose for another 2 or 3 breaths. Just feeling the stretch. And then we hold the shape. Finding that full body breath, bringing the air to the dantian. And then getting yourselves bigger in space as you breathe out. In our extended side angle pose, let's bring hand back to the hip. Let's come back up. And let's find our warrior 2 shape. From warrior 2 shape, hands find the hips as we spin back heel up. Shifting weight onto the front foot as we step back foot front. From here, I'll invite you to bring hands to heart. Coming back to our breath, either keeping that light press of the palms as your weight collects in your feet, or adding that isometric engagement as we press the palms together, elbows wide, shoulders engaged. I'll invite you to add a tuck of the tail as you find Mula Bandha, drawing the perineum up towards the navel, finding that center of strength in the very center of yourself. And then hands by our side. From here, either toe heeling the feet out hip width apart, or maybe taking a little jump. As if our hands are floating on water, let's jump on our toes 8 times for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Let's hold those heels up. Let's bring arms up and over the head, the palms face in. Keeping the heels lifted, let's spin the palms out. Spinning palms in. Spinning palms out. One more time here. I'm going to go backwards here so you all can see my palms. Spinning palms in. Spinning palms out, and then we'll bring hands by our side as we lower the heels. I'll invite you to keep it loose, give it a little shake. From this place, let's find second position as we angle the toes out. Again, as if our hands are floating on water, we'll jump for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Let's hold those heels up, arms overhead, palms face in, palms face out, palms face in, palms face out. One more here, palms face in, palms face out, and then lower the heels, hands by our side. And again, let's just keep it loose here, finding that water element, maybe a little elbow action there. There you go. Let's turn our toes in as we connect with the inseams of our legs. Any amount here. Make sure your knees feel okay on this one though. So if it's too much, you don't have to turn your toes in. Hands float on water as we jump for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. We'll hold those heels up, arms overhead, palms in, palms out, palms in, palms out, palms in, palms out. We'll lower the heels, hands by our side. Let's move towards this fourth and fifth, our fourth position. Let's make a little T with our feet. Can you all see that? Yeah. Now either keeping the T or turning the tail of the T back just a tad. Hands are floating on water as we jump for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's hold those heels up, arms overhead, palms in, palms out, palms in, palms out, palms in, palms out, and lower the heels, hands by our side. Let's give it a little shake. Finding the other T. So other tail, other T, either keeping the T or turning the toe back a little bit. Last one here, hands are floating on water as we jump for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Hold those heels up, arms overhead, palms in, palms out, palms in, palms out. One more here, palms in, palms out. We'll lower the heels. Hands by our side, and one more time. Just give it a shake, keep it loose. From here, let's bring hands to our heart. Either keeping that light press of the palms, weight collects in the feet, or adding that isometric engagement. And then hands by our side. From here, let's grab our pillow and let's come to a seat on the floor. No need to rush. And I'll suggest Tarasana. So I'm going to come back just a little bit. So it's like butterfly pose, but the feet are longer and there's a space between the heels. You all can see that. From our Tarasana, let's bring hands under our knees, pulling back with the hands to sit up a little straighter, a little taller. And let's find what we call neutral spine. The back of the head is in line with the sacrum. From here, just like we did in our standing poses, a slight tuck of the chin as we draw our energy inward. So Tara is a Buddhist goddess of compassion, and I believe her skin is bright green. Not sure why that is, but it's fun to think about. From Tarasana, let's move towards Kurmasana, the tortoise pose, or turtle. I'll invite you to feed your arms underneath your legs, palms face down. So we go a little bit, see how your back feels. This is an awesome back stretch, but again, you want to do it in the right measure with all of our stretches. You want to feel softness in the inner groins. So as you come forward, hinging at the hips, keeping neutral spine, see how your back feels. You might stay in neutral spine as we work this exercise. Ears in line with shoulders, shoulders in line with hips. If you want to take it further and it's cool with your back, I'll invite you to envision a ball in front, and you're rounding up and over the ball as you round the spine and settle into the shape. I'll invite you to let the neck relax and the head be heavy, or finding Jalandhara Bandha as you lengthen over another little ball between the sternum and the chin, finding more length, not less, in the neck as you tuck that chin. There's a mantra that goes with this shape. I'll say it 3 times, just listening to me or repeating it along with me, or just to yourself in the recesses of your mind. I go deep within to find all that I need. I go deep within to find all that I need. I go deep within to find all that I need. And then holding Kurmasana under the 3 or 4 breaths. With every exhale, just letting those groins soften into the earth. From Kurmasana, I'll invite you to walk yourselves back as we unfeed those arms out from under the legs. From here, let's move towards bound angle pose, Baddha Konasana, very similar to Tarasana, but now
we walk the feet in and connect the soles of the feet. Either keeping your hands on your ankles, or we can use the thumbs on the insoles of the feet. And we can open up the feet like we're opening up a book. This always amazes me, just because when I open up the feet like a book, I always feel it in my hips. And just very interesting that the periphery of the foot has that much effect on the center. From here, we can start to take a little bit of a forward fold, either working neutral spine, hinging at the hips, again being mindful, listening to your back, and more importantly, just respecting what your back has to say to you this morning. Those that want to go a little bit further and it's cool with the back, again envisioning a ball, going around up and over the ball. As we round the spine, there's going to be a second ball between the chin and the sternum, so when you tuck the chin, we're not collapsing into the tuck, we're finding more length in the neck as we tuck that chin. Another great place for that same mantra, I go deep within to find all that I need. I go deep within to find all that I need. I go deep within to find all that I need. And then holding it for another 3 or 4 breaths. As we hold the shape, if you do want to add some action, you might think about stretching the knees away from the hips. Very subtle, more an action than a movement, as we find more space in our hips. From here, I'll invite you to come back up as we come back to a tall sit. From here, let's do a half butterfly on each side. So we want to bring our left leg straight. We can use a hand on each side of the knee to keep the knee supported. We can flex the foot as we straighten the leg. That's going to engage the muscles around the knee to keep the connective tissue supported. Either keeping your right leg right where it is, or if you want a bit more, we can work it in a little bit closer. Maybe it finds the thigh. From here, we can turn and face that straight front leg. We can walk our hands forward, working with neutral spine initially, just seeing how far we can go with neutral spine as we hinge at the hips. Either staying here, ears, shoulders, and hips in one line, or rounding up and over that ball as we round the spine. Either keeping ears and shoulders in one line, or tucking the chin. And again, you want to think of a second ball between the sternum and the chin. Another great place, I go deep within to find all that I need. I go deep within to find all that I need. I go deep within to find all that I need. And again, holding it for another 3 or 4 breaths, just breathing into that right hip. Seeing how the hip connects to the back. Try to keep those shoulders relaxed, face soft. Just finding a peace and a quiet within ourselves. And it's always there. Sometimes it's harder to find than others. From here, let's walk our hands back as we come on back. And let's straighten this right leg. Again, I'll put just a hand on each side as we bring the knee center, and then flexing the foot as we straighten the leg. From here, we'll bring the left foot in. Again, you have a nice loose bound angle here on that side. If you want to take it a little further, we can find less of a looseness as we draw the foot in. Maybe it finds that thigh. From here, turning and facing that straight front leg, hinging at the hips, seeing how far you go with the hinge. Either staying with the hinge or adding the 2 balls as we round the spine and round the neck. 3 more times here. I go deep within to find all that I need. I go deep within to find all that I need. I go deep within to find all that I need. And holding the pose in relative stillness for another 3 or 4 breaths. Now coming on up as we walk the hands back, we can support that knee as we bring it center. We can flex the foot as we straighten the legs. And I'll suggest let's give our knees a little love and consideration with a hand on each side, just bringing a little warmth to our knee. Now I'll invite you to take your fingers to the back of your knee, exploring that place. How often do you ever explore that place? Probably not too often, unless you do a lot of yoga, which is a good thing. And then I'll invite you to let the muscles around the knee be super loose as we give that kneecap a little wiggle. Any amount, to see how it feels this morning. We can find our other knee A hand on each side. Warmth here. Fingers can find the back of the knee. Just see how that feels. And then giving that kneecap a little wiggle. From here, let's move towards our Shavasana. So I'll go sideways. Why don't you come up a little bit so you can do a full body stretch on the floor. We can start from neutral spine. In Pilates, we call it tall spine. From here, we can find C-spine, tuck tail and chin. As we're laying pearls onto a cushion, we're going to slowly lay ourselves down. When we get down, I'll invite you to find a full body stretch. Let me switch my position here. So we don't want to bring the arms too close to the floor because we don't want the ribs to harden. We want to keep the ribs soft and drawing in so the arms are by the ears. As we point fingers and toes, breathing in. Breathing out, flexing hands and feet. A couple more times. Breathing in as we point. Exhale as we flex. Breathing in as we point. Exhale as we flex. And then I'll allow you to sweep your hands to your side, your palms face up. Letting your armpits and inner thighs have lots of room to breathe. Scooting the head back as you flatten the shoulders. Finding our Shavasana, our final relaxation shape. Doing whatever else feels right and good for you this morning. Tip of the tongue is now neutral in the mouth. A slight part to the lips, but still breathing in and out through the nose. Initially focusing on the breath, but as we hold our Shavasana, even letting that focus soften as we take our senses inside. Those of you at home feeling free to hold your Shavasana as long as you'd like. Here in the room, I'll cue it out in a minute or two. Those of you at home, feeling free to stay right where you are. My own personal practice, I like to go about 10 minutes, sometimes 15 minutes on the Shavasana. Trust me, if you hold it, eventually things calm down, and you'll get this really, really nice sense of relaxation. The shoulders, the hips, back of the head, soft things. So certainly feeling free to move towards that place. Usually 2 or 3 minutes. Certainly not enough to get there. Those of us in the room, sorry, I'm going to call you out for our practice here. I'll invite you to wiggle fingers and toes to invite more prana, more life force into your body. Now circling wrists and ankles as we draw that life force, that prana in toward the center. I'll invite you to add a little shake of the shoulders, a little shimmy of the hips. Intuitive movement as we lay on the floor. Now drawing one knee at a time in towards your heart as your hands catch your shins. And then using your thighs to massage your low belly as you gently lift and lower the low back and hips. It's called Apanasana, a great pose for digestion as we digest the fruits of our practice. From here, I'll invite you to stretch long through an arm, rolling onto one side, letting that arm serve as a cushion for the head. As we lay on our sides, I'll invite you to let your breath whoosh out through your mouth, softening your shoulders, relaxing your jaw, softening the corners of your eyes. And then pushing on up to find a cross-legged sit. Feel free to use your yoga pillow, your yoga towel to sit up a little straighter, a little taller. I'll invite you to bring hands onto knees, pulling back with the hands, sit up straight. A slight tuck of the chin. Ending our practice as we started. Watching as our breath flows in. And as our breath flows out. From this place of breath awareness, I invite you to bring your hands to your heart and bow as you thank yourselves for practicing yoga and as we offer our practice out to each other and to the world. I'll thank you all for practicing with me this morning. One more class this week, which will be tomorrow night at 5:30 Pacific, 8:30 Eastern. Feel free to make any comments. And thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Kathy.